Hey guys, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
We're two lifelong friends and musicians, but when we're not playing gigs, we like to talk games.
And today on the Gaming Gig podcast, we're discussing why are gamers lying about the games they play the most.
All right, man. So we put out a poll on the main Gaming Gig channel.
Yes.
And it was about live service games, asking, what do you play more, traditional games or live service games?
But Randy, what's a live service game?
Well, that's a good question. I do think that a lot of people are a little confused about what they are. Myself included, sometimes it can be there's some gray area there.
In fact, Randy and I have disagreed about whether or not certain games are live service games.
Right. So, according to the internet, when you Google what is a live service game, it says live service games, also known as games as a service, are games that are continually updated with new content, features, and events to keep players engaged and coming back for more. Basically, if it's a game that you can play and then finish and then you're done, that would be a traditional game. Mm-hmm. If it's a game that kind of has no ending and sees continual updates and stuff like that, that's a live service game.
Mm-hmm. Right. So not like a game that got a DLC once.
No, not that.
Like a game that got a DLC airtime.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think there are some gray areas, and we'll talk about those in a little bit, because there's some maybe traditional games that incorporate live service elements, and that's a little iffy. There are also games that are traditional games that have a separate mode that is a live service mode, so that's a little weird.
Right.
I think of games like GTA 5, which is a traditional game, but then also has like GTA Online that comes with it, which is a live service game. So
right. Red Dead Online, same thing.
Same sort of idea.
Thanks, right. Rockstar.
Right. But a little history on live service games. The first live service game is widely considered to be World of Warcraft.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was 2004. Wow. I thought you were just like impressed by the stat. Then I realized you're making a joke. And that was, I remember that game being very different and me being confused at why gamers were doing this weird thing where they were like a game that had no ending and they just would like play it forever and just like play with all their friends. It was crazy.
I'm going to be honest with you. I still get a little confused when I see WoW about why people play it because I just don't get it. But it's definitely like addictive. It's got that like addictive.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
So some examples of some live service games would be like Fortnite, Destiny 2, Apex Legends, Rainbow Six Siege, Rocket League, that's one of our favorites, Warframe, Overwatch, and Sea of Thieves, another one that we played a heck of a lot of. So those are some examples of some live service games.
Interesting. So we asked a poll, as we've already said, and we said, hey guys, which do you play more, live service games or traditional games? And at a whopping colossal landslide victory, traditional games came in at 90%. You don't have to be a mathematician to figure out that live service games came in at 10%.
Which is crazy because, I mean, like, you always hear about how live service games are so popular. But here, when we put out our poll to our audience, 90% of people say that they play traditional games more than they play live service games.
It's unbelievable.
It almost is unbelievable. Because I was like, really? I mean, like, you would think with those kinds of numbers that people, like, publishers wouldn't even be making live service games.
Right.
If only 10% of people, like 10% of the time, or 10% of people are playing those more, why would they even make them? So,
yeah, I mean, we had 2,100 people that voted in this poll, and only 210 of you play live service games.
Or more, So I was like, I honestly, my first gut reaction was like, I think people are lying about what they play more.
Yeah, why you be lying?
I don't know if that's necessarily true. I have some ideas, but like the first thing when I was telling Daniel about it, he was like, yep, people are lying. That was literally the first thing out of your mouth.
Yeah, we can, I feel like we're setting up like a bad cop, good cop scenario here because I don't believe you.
Well, and
Randy wants to believe you. That's the difference.
Yeah, I do. But
he doesn't believe you either.
So I was like, I'm just going to look around and see if the poll numbers match what like is going on out in the world.
Yes.
So the first place I looked was Twitch just to see like what games people were streaming. And of course, out of the most popular categories being streamed right now, 10 out of the 10 games were all live service games. But
well, that's shocking.
But I thought, well, you know what? Maybe live service games are just better to stream. That doesn't mean that they're the most popular games. Maybe those are just the most popular games that people want to watch other people play, which I definitely think is somewhat true.
Sure. We've run into that. I mean, we have kind of settled on that organically as we grew our little Twitch channel.
Right. We found that live service games are just more engaging for people to watch. Okay. So then I was like, well, let me check the other like stores and see, you know, I checked Steam and I checked by player count because you can do that on Steam, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And 10 out of the top 10 were all live service games.
What?
What? So I checked Epic,
Right.
you know, Steam's competitor, and only 9 out of the 10 were live service games.
What?
I know. Now, some of these games are games that do have both a single player and a live service mode, but if they have a live service mode, I lumped them in with a live service category.
Because that's the mode that people are playing.
Probably. Probably. I mean, there are both, but, you know, I decided to just lump those together. I checked Xbox, and they had a popular game section. 9 out of 10 of those were live service games.
What?
I checked PlayStation, and 10 out of 10 of those of the top 10 popular games in the United States right now were also live service games.
What?
And Nintendo does not offer data on popular games.
What?
So
Of course they don't. Of course
they
Nintendo
have
wouldn't.
their best sellers, but it doesn't include free to play games in their best sellers list. And it also, you know, that is a current like bestseller. So, you know, a lot of these live service games people have bought, you know, a while back and are continuously playing. That's kind of how they work. So that isn't the best list. You really have to have like a popular by player count sort of stat, and Nintendo does not offer that. So
Right.
we don't know about what's going on Switch. But I kind of thought that maybe Switch would be the one that had the most chance of maybe not having as many live service games.
I think it would.
But I don't have that, so who knows?
Yeah, I think it would, because anytime I've played any of these games that we play on Switch, it's always such an inferior experience that I'm like, okay, this is not where I'm going to play this.
Right, yeah. So what's up with the discrepancy here? Why did we have 90% of people say that they play more traditional games when all the stats that you can look up online says that like it's overwhelming, like the vast majority of the most popular games are live service games? What's up with the discrepancy here? Do you have any thoughts?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be confirmed by some of these comments. I think people want to say that they don't play the live service games. I think it's like
Because they don't like them.
because they don't like them. You know, they maybe wish they weren't around as much, maybe wish they weren't as prevalent in the industry, but they do play them because clearly they do, and they just don't want to say that, oh, this is what I play the most of. That's my theory.
So you think that they are lying, but unintentionally lying, maybe.
No, I think they know the truth.
They just don't
I
want
just don't think they want to admit it on the internet.
Okay. Maybe. I think that also it comes down to maybe how the question was worded. Maybe it was a poor wording on I did play.
And we discussed that too.
I said, which do you play more?
Yes.
Okay. And more is a weird word. Maybe I think like because traditional games, you play them and then they're over and then you're done with them. Maybe if you were to count up like, I played 10 games this month, although no, not many people are playing 10 games in a month, but let's just say I played 10 games this month. 9 of them were traditional games.
Yeah.
And then only one of them was a live service game. So yeah, I play more, you know, traditional games.
And we talked about that. I think that's that's possible. So maybe some of you weren't lying. Maybe some of you just interpreted it a little differently than we intended. Because I'm the same way. Like I play, if I just count them up, I play more traditional games.
Right.
But I have like almost 800 hours on Sea of Thieves.
Right. And you don't have 800 hours on any traditional game.
Right. Except Smash.
And Smash is, I think,
and that's one we've argued about before.
I think Smash is a gray area. I think Smash, you know, now that it's no longer being updated, maybe you could argue that it's not a live service game. But I think, you know, when it was getting continuous updates, even though they were DLC, they weren't included free. They were paid, yeah. So maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. But that's one we have argued about before.
Yeah.
I think it has some live service elements, but maybe it's not a live service game.
I also play a little Rocket League every day.
Yeah. So say that's a very clear live service game.
And we definitely went through some heavy Fortnite phase.
Right.
You know, like,
and Sea of Thieves we played tons of.
Yes.
And, you know.
And I intend on eventually coming back to Fortnite. I'm not done with it.
Yeah.
Just taking a break.
So I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of tough. I think also there is a chance that our audience is more like interested in traditional games than they are live service games.
Sure.
I think that maybe
we are too.
Like the more like just going to say it, like hardcore gamer audience, they're more interested in traditional games, and they're not so into live service games as maybe some of the more general audiences.
Because why do people make live service games? Well, they make them to bleed us of our hard-earned cash. People know that.
They do.
And I think people kind of resent it.
Yeah, I do think. I think that the more you game, the more you start to realize like that how much you resent it. And people who are maybe more casual, they don't see that as much, and so they don't care, and they just play these live service games, and maybe they're not super interested in watching a gaming podcast.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, I'm a teacher. I teach kids, right? And I talk to these kids about video games all the time. Pretty much all of them, without, with a few rare exceptions, are playing like a game.
One game.
And it's their game that they're playing right now, and it's always a live service game.
Right.
It might be Fortnite. It might be your Call of Duty. Right? But it's something like that.
Right.
And normally a shooter. It might be Apex.
I think that's probably a big part of it. Is
Valorant.
We have it probably is both. It's the compound of our audience isn't super interested in it, but then also, like we were saying earlier, if you think of it as like number of games that you play, the traditional games are definitely going to outweigh it. There's a lot of things. And then I do think part of it is definitely like you just want to say that you're more into traditional games, even if you do play a lot of live service games.
I mean, I think maybe for some people there's a little shame there. I think I've gotten over it though, because I look at it differently. And maybe I can help you too. So, your live service game or whatever it is, your live service-esque game, whatever. Maybe that's the game that you're like hooked on. That's what you come to every day. That doesn't mean you can't have a little side game, Ain't nothing wrong with having something on the side, That can be your traditional game, and that can cycle through, you can be cycling through
Okay.
the stuff on the side.
I'm not so sure I like this metaphor.
It's just games, Randy.
Okay.
I'm talking games.
But yeah. Okay, let's read some comments and react to some comments here.
Let's do it.
So we have here Isaac GTA 3964 said, why live service game have higher player count than IG? I guess because then won't be on social media barking. I love single players like Red Dead 2, Hogwarts Legacy, and so on, but nothing matches Fortnite and GTA Online fun with friends.
Yeah, the social aspect is big.
It is. I think that's why a lot of people keep playing those. I mean, we play them on stream because the social aspect. I mean, that's a big part of it.
Sure.
And it's also just like they're much easier to play with friends. Like me and you can't play Final Fantasy 16 together.
No.
And it'd be cool if we could, but we can't. So,
and that's one thing. And that when we find a live service game that doesn't do that well, we complain about it. Like Sea of Thieves.
Right.
That game's not, built for jumping in, jumping out. Most of these live service games are.
Right. That's why we love like Rocket League and stuff, because it's so easy to jump in, jump out. It doesn't really matter. You don't get punished for it like you do in Sea of Thieves.
Right. Come on, Rare. All right, we got a comment from Y King 2077. They're saying live service games bore me.
I think that it's easy to get burnt out on a live service game because you can put so many hours into it.
Yes,
like I think any game that you put in, whether you realize it or not, when by the time we were talking about Sea of Thieves the other day as an example of this, we've put in so many hours into Sea of Thieves that we are burnt out on it. We are kind of bored with it.
Yeah,
but you realize like each of us have put over 500 hours into that game, and if I put 500 hours into any game.
Yeah,
I'm going to be bored with it. I think that kind of just comes with it. I actually think that live service games are probably better than traditional games about not boring you in terms of like how many hours you can put into them.
Yeah, I think because they're built on this like addictive loop, of
right.
It's like a quick dopamine hit and you're done, because they are so built for jumping in, jumping out, jumping in, and that because of that, it's like TikTok. Because it's like done so quickly. You end up spending more hours because you're like, oh, I'll just do one more. Oh, I'll just watch one more. Oh my God, I've spent 6 hours on TikTok.
Yeah. And with the games, it's like, oh my God, I realize I've spent 600 hours playing this game.
Yeah.
And it's like, how did that even happen? But they do eventually, all games get boring. But what's crazy is we keep coming back to these live service games for whatever reason. We have here, Username _4762 said, games as a service make me vomit. I think that's why so many people, a big portion, like we said, didn't vote for it. It's because they just hate the idea of live service games. Yeah, they're icky. They're gross. They have these predatory microtransactions that everyone hates. Of course, they make everyone vomit, but still I don't know. I do think they have a place in gaming, obviously. I don't know that I like it a whole lot, but still, I mean, I play them and do enjoy them.
I think they're here to stay. Also, _ you might want to go see a doctor about the frequent vomiting.
About the frequent vomiting. Yeah, you don't want to be vomiting all the time.
Not all the time, you know. A little bit of vomit never killed anybody, but...
Yeah.
All right, we got a comment from Casey the Batman. Casey said, traditional games, obviously, no one likes live service games.
Yet here they are being, you know, the most popular games by a long shot.
I think you might have out-detectived the best detective in the world, being Batman.
Maybe so. Is Batman the best detective in the world?
Yes.
I mean, he's fictional, but...
Batman is the world's greatest detective. He's also skilled in every martial art ever.
He is. And he's also quite wealthy.
Very wealthy.
So there you go. No, I mean, like, people do love live service games. I think that a lot of gamers who are plugged in and, like, really know, you know, they're in the ins and outs of gaming, they don't like them. And I think that that is a large part of our audience. I think that's why it skews that way.
Yeah, and, you know, we're not the young whippersnappers we once were, Randy.
No, we're not.
And it's possible that we have attracted an audience of similar ailment.
I do think a lot of the people who watch us are around the same age as us. If I look at the YouTube stats, they are around our age or a little younger than us.
So I think, you know, the young whippersnappers love the live service games, and maybe our folks just aren't that demographic.
I do think we have some young whippersnappers out there.
We definitely do. I just don't know that it's, you know, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to see, like, why did this happen?
I don't know. But before we move on to reading more comments, I want to tell you guys about our Discord server. So we have a Discord server that we use to talk about games. We post when we post a video, a podcast, anything like that, when we go live on Twitch. But primarily it's just a place to chat about games with other like-minded individuals like you and us.
Heck yeah, you can get on there and you can post pictures of your cats, pictures of your food. What I mean, if you get bored with the gaming conversation, jump over there and look at my adorable kitties.
Yeah, Daniel posts his cats on there quite often. So, but there's an invite link to join the Discord server in the description of this video or podcast, wherever you're finding it. Just go join the Discord server and hang out with us.
Heck yeah.
All right, let's get to the next comment here.
All right, we got a comment from Alessandro, who said, I prefer traditional single-player games, but I have to admit that I play more service games.
Right,
Smiling, crying, sweaty emoji. Played a lot Diablo, Guild Wars, Warframe, Destiny, Dauntless, etc. From the hours played, that should be more than I played traditional games.
Right. So, and I think we have someone being completely honest here.
Yes.
They prefer traditional games, but they'll admit that they play more live service games. I think that's a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's me. I mean...
I don't know. I think if my hours were to be added up, I do play a lot of live service games, but I really only play them on when we stream, and that's only about 3 hours a week. And I put in way more hours on traditional games. So I think I do skew a little bit towards traditional, but I mean, I put in a fair amount on live service games. I'm not going to lie to you.
I think sometimes I blur that line. Like I play a lot of Street Fighter 6. I don't think that's really live service. It's gonna have seasons. It's got a fighter pass.
But
the DLC is paid.
Yeah, I think that Street Fighter 6 is a great example of a gray area game. I do think that if you had to put it into one category, I do think it fits more snugly in the live service category than it does a traditional game. Although it does have elements of both. It does have like a story mode that you can play and finish. But it also has a more like live service oriented mode that is never ending.
And that single player mode you're talking about, the World Tour, I'm pretty sure when we get DLC characters, they're going to be added the World Tour. So you could probably jump back in and like go do their part.
Yeah.
And it's a fighting game, so it's going to be continually like updated and balanced, throughout
Right.
the life of its game. So
Yeah, I think that is definitely, there are gray area games out there, and I think those are some interesting things. But those are the type of games that traditionally they didn't have online modes, and now that they
Right.
do, they have the opportunity to treat them more like a live service game. Now that we have online and can update them continuously.
here's a thought:
Okay,
fighting games started where?
in the arcade.
In the arcade. Was that like the primitive live service game right there? Because it took a quarter.
It
You
did
died, and you got to put another
microtransactions.
quarter.
The first microtransactions, yeah.
Holy crap!
But I don't think microtransactions necessarily are the only sign of a live service game.
Well, those cabinets came and went, man.
They were continuously updated.
They were continuously updated.
Okay. Okay. Let's move on to another comment here
Interesting.
before we let Daniel get too. We need to take off his foil hat.
I've had that thing on for a few days.
We got a comment here from. I don't know how to pronounce this.
Yeah, you made fun of me, now you get to make a fool of yourself.
Gowns. I don't know.
Good
Live
job,
service
buddy.
games are extremely time consuming and therefore may ruin your game experiences because of not allowing you to find time in playing other variety of games. With traditional games, you can finish them and get ready to look for other stuff you're interested in. There's a variety to be found here. It's much more fun and broadens your understanding of gaming. Traditional is the way, or there is a small percentage of who can actually do the variety while playing live service games. I see what you're saying there. Yeah, that's why I think everyone loves traditional games, because if you're really into gaming, you like to play a lot of different games. So traditional games allow that. But if you get into live service games, they are time sucks. Big time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, and I do try to walk that balance, but it's tough.
It's very, very tough because they are addictive by nature. They're like developed to be addicting. And if they're not addicting, they're not a good live service game. They will flop and they're gone in no time. They're not supported.
You realize that Fortnite is only one molecule different than hard drugs.
One molecule different than hard drugs. Yeah. It's only one chromosome has one little place changed on its DNA and now and that's all it is.
Right.
Yep. That's all it is.
So, I mean, you be the judge.
You be the judge.
All right. We got another comment here from Rainball. Rainball said, can't beat a good single-player game.
I mean, I think that we all agree you can't beat a good single player game, but I mean, I can't say that I haven't loved me a good live service game too.
Yeah.
There's been times where like the game I want to play most was a live service game.
For sure. For sure. But whenever we talk about our favorite games, none of us put those games on those lists. Out of me and you.
I don't, yeah, it like my favorite games of all time. Yeah, I tend to even forget about the live service
Me
games.
too.
Like I just don't even include them. But I mean but I have to say like if you're like, you got to give me like years away and you're like, what were the games that you had the most fun in your life playing? I probably will need to consider live service games because I do love them.
Yeah, Sea of Thieves will have to make a...
Right.
Yeah.
Even though I'm completely bored with Sea of Thieves and I have no interest in playing it right now.
Me neither.
That doesn't mean that it wasn't a really huge game for me and a game that I loved.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, hit us with Leftover Pizza.
Leftover Pizza says, I play games that respect my time and money, not a barely finished bare bones game whose only purpose is to funnel me into an overpriced shop.
Leftovers all, you've got a point.
Yeah. I mean, but there are traditional games that people complain. I mean, I'd say that traditional games are probably more so at the center of the debate of pricing than live service games are.
And, they can hit you with those microtransactions just as hard as anything. Like, I remember when you were playing Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you complained a lot that it was way too easy to accidentally click into that store.
Way too easy. Yeah.
Thanks, Ubisoft.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, those traditional games have the microtransactions. Those might infuriate me. They do infuriate me way more than a live service game that's like a free to play game that has them. Because, of course, that's how a free to play game is going to make money. They have to make money.
Yeah.
But when you have a full price game that is filled with microtransactions, that is infuriating.
You know what I don't like? There's a trend now in gaming. Like, every game that comes out has the base version, and then it has, like, the deluxe edition, and then it has, like, the ultimate edition. right? And they're all priced differently, obviously increasing. And they just come with like varying cosmetics.
Cosmetics, or you get in-game currency to
In-game
begin
currency.
with, or it gives you some sort of like crazy thing. And some people only buy those top games. And I'm telling you guys, there's no difference between those. It is pure psychology. You do not need those.
Yeah. The only exception that I've made is like I bought the one step up for Street Fighter 6 because it came with the first wave of DLC. So I'll go ahead and do that because if you buy them individually, you're paying more.
But like, okay, yeah.
But the one up from that was like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like the currency,
Yeah, it
the
has all that
DLC,
stuff.
the outfits, you know, like.
You know what's another trend in gaming that I've noticed lately that also kind of makes me mad is games that should be free-to-play games. That they're obviously going for like the free-to-play model, but then they're making them full-price games. And then still, it just is like purely season passes and microtransactions, but it's a full price game and it's an always online live service game. But they're treating it like it's a, AAA, full price game.
Is there an example that's.
Oh yeah, like Exoprimal just came out that's
Yeah.
that way. Exoprimal is definitely not a traditional game. It has a story and stuff, but it is very clearly a multiplayer online live service game, but it's full price. Crash Team Rumble, it's not full price, but it's still $30 a game.
Kirby's Dream Buffet.
Kirby's Dream
comes to
Buffet. Oh yeah, definitely. No, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't like that trend either, and I feel like we're seeing that a lot.
Exoprimal makes me a little sad. I watched the Before You Buy. You probably did too.
I did too.
That's probably where you're getting this. And it makes me a little sad because I have become, I was like really in Capcom's corner, and I still am. Because I loved Street Fighter so much. People loved the RE4 remake, and it makes me want to go play Resident Evil because I'm like, okay,
I love
Capcom.
Resident Evil. Yeah,
and you're a big fan of Resident Evil. So Exoprimal, like, I didn't think it looked that good to me, but I was open. But Jake Baldino, or no, it might have been Falcon.
It was Falcon.
Yeah, it was Falcon. He told me maybe I shouldn't play it.
I mean, like, and he said it was fine.
Yeah, but I can read between the lines, and it didn't look like something that.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a $60 game. I mean, at least it's on Game Pass, so at least you could try it that way, But
That's true. I will have Game Pass when Starfield comes out.
it might be worth trying on Game Pass. I thought about getting Game Pass just to try Exoprimal, but I'm not paying $60 to try Exoprimal.
No.
And the same thing with, like, we talk about Crash Team Rumble. That game should be free to play.
Yeah.
And I know people hate free to play games, but if it's gonna have seasons and it's gonna have microtransactions and it's gonna have all the, you're gonna buy the skins and stuff anyway. You might as well just make it free to play and admit what you are. Don't pretend to be something else.
And that's really a lesson for all of us.
It's true.
Be
honest with yourself.
Be honest with yourself. Be honest with your podcasters.
Right. Be honest on polls.
Whoa, Randy. Whoa, shots fired.
Let's keep going here.
No sunglasses required in here because it is shady.
Player GM7DY says, does Dead Cells count as a live service game? Because if so, then it's like 1,000 hours skewed. I don't think Dead Cells. So. No, Dead Cells, that's like a Metroidvania, like a roguelite sort of deal, right?
Yeah, I played Dead Cells when it was pretty new. And I know it's had some updates, and I haven't played those. But no, I don't think so, man.
I think no.
It had the Castlevania update, which I think is super cool.
Just because it's getting updates doesn't mean, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. No for Dead Cells.
Yeah. All right. Raichi said, we can love traditional more, but the reality is we all have played at least one service game 200 plus hours, and publishers want to be that game. I think Raichi is talking to the congregation.
I think so, yeah. We're like, look, we can all love traditional more, but be honest. We've all played some live service games for hundreds of hours.
Yes. My name's Daniel, and I'm a recovering Sea of Thieves addict.
Right.
Hey, Daniel.
And speaking of Sea of Thieves, a game that we no longer stream on Twitch, but at least we might come back to it. Who knows?
What a segue.
But we're going to tell you guys about our Twitch channel on Tuesday and Thursday and Sunday. We always stream on those days. We've been trying to sprinkle in some extra streams just for fun throughout. But come check us out on Twitch and hang out with us. We stream at 8 p.m. Eastern on those days.
Heck yeah.
All right. So.
Oh, man.
We've made it to the end, and that means it's time for the 3 for Dale Club. My favorite part of the podcast.
The 3 for Dale Club, if you're not aware, is our secret organization that we're the heads of. Okay, we're like the heads. We're like the twin snake heads at the top of the. So the 3 for Dale Club is an organization you can join by simply commenting 3 for Dale in your comment on this video. Say whatever you want, but drop 3 for Dale in as well. That way we know you made it all the way to the end of the video, and we gonna shout you out.
Yep, it's our secret code phrase that helps you join the club. All right. Today we got a number of members, guys. I hope I got everybody. It's getting a little hard to keep track, but I love it.
I love that.
All right. We have Fade Up John, new member of the 3 for Dale Club. Glad to have you here, Fade Up John.
What up, Fade Up John? Next, we got our boy, Chicken Ender.
It's been a while since we've seen you, Chicken. I'm glad you're back, man. We got AJK back again.
Do you know who AJK is?
No.
It's Anthony.
Is it seriously Anthony?
It's Anthony, our Aussie friend from the land down under.
How did I not know this?
He just told me on, I think it was one of the streams. It's the stream when you were out, when we were doing Rocket League.
That's Anthony.
That's Anthony, yeah.
No wonder you've been here this whole time, Anthony.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were Anthony. I just thought you were AJK.
I was like, you're the one that I always joke about being on the little baby track. And he was like, yeah, that's me.
That is great. Oh, yeah. AJ. Well, Anthony. I didn't know that. I'm so glad. That's the problem with usernames and stuff. You never know who people are.
Anthony is he is seriously like the oldest gaming gig fan we have.
He's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Anthony, I'm so glad you're here. And you're always here. So thank you.
He never left.
Nope, it was never gone. All right. Next, we got Punchy Punch. Oh, Caleb.
Hadn't heard from Caleb in a minute. Hope he's doing all right.
Well, he's part of the 3 for Dale Club, so I'm sure he's doing fine.
Yeah, that's true. So I better do it fine. All right. Anyway, we got, I think, another new one here.
No, we got this last.
Oh,
this
you're
is
right.
last week because we really struggled to pronounce the name.
This is Kaletso Mukitsane.
And he said I'd never heard my name pronounced that way, and I said, "Well, tell us how to pronounce it. We want to get it right." Said it's in another language, so it's just going to be weird. Didn't even give me options.
Oh, it's in another language.
Yeah. So
well, we could put it in Google.
No, I don't think names can be translated, Daniel.
No, I didn't mean to translate. I meant to read it.
Oh, to read it. Okay.
Dang, really? How dumb do you think I am?
Pretty dumb. All right, next we got Tristan Miller back again in the 3 for Dale Club. It's been a little while since we've seen you, but I'm glad you're back.
Welcome back. Next we have Landon Stallings, the man, the myth, the legend.
Always here for us, Landon. And also always here for us is Tom Derry. Tom Derry's the last one on the list today. Guys, a big 3 for Dale Club. We really appreciate it. But again, if you made it to the end of this podcast and you're not a part of the 3 for Dale Club, just drop 3 for Dale and we'll shout you out next week at the end of the podcast.
That's right. We'd love to have you.
All right, guys. Until next time, I'm Randy.
Which makes me Daniel.
And this has been Gaming Gig.
Peace out.